Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of From Conflict to Collaboration. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Tara Weir. Hello, Tara Weir.
Hi, Chris.
I love it. Let's just jump right in today because we're going to role play. I'm excited to role play. That freaks a lot of people out. So we people are going to do the role playing for you, so you don't have to get to watch and listen. But set the frame for me here a little bit. Like, what are we role playing? Why are we role playing it? What's the problem it solves, etc.?
Yeah, we're going to role play a situation that we have just come from a meeting together. We're on a team, and we were talking about a process that we were trying to figure out as a team. And in that meeting, I was in the middle of sharing an idea, and you interrupted me, and you did it more than once. And then in this, I will show you. So I shut down in the meeting, and I pretty much stopped saying anything because for a whole variety of reasons.
Sure.
And then what we'll role play is me approaching you afterwards and talking to you about it.
Okay, perfect. Now, I love that. That's perfect because I feel like that's very real world. But you have more statistics and perspective than I do, or I don't have statistics, but you have data. You have information about that. Like, give me a little bit of that backstory on like why does that happen? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, what research shows is that men are more likely to interrupt, that women tend to wait and look for an opening to not interrupt, and that often that opening doesn't come. So it tends to be a result of women not speaking their voice at the table nearly as much because they don't want to interrupt. They want to be agreeable, and they don't want to be that person. So this is a way to follow up afterwards and address it, and to continue to build trust between two coworkers that show up differently in a meeting.
Got it. Also, I can just see too, like, I mean, I'm a guy, obviously. So like when I can catch myself interrupting, I think, and only because I'm passionate about, and I don't know if that's how it happened in our role play, but I know, and I don't know, I think as a guy, that's oftentimes how it is. I see the topic and I have an opinion. And so I'm going to share my opinion, and me cutting you off isn't necessarily always about I'm not trying to belittle you, but I'm trying to move the ball or something, right? Move the needle.
Right. And you're excited about your idea, and you want to share that idea. And
guys are excited about their ideas for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I think women are too. It's just, we show up differently to that. And that relationship is often more of a priority than being heard. So we might value that a little bit more of being agreeable or keeping in the good graces, so to speak. And that we may hesitate to, and they do say, I've read, women need to speak up soon in a meeting. They need to speak up early, often, and regularly. So
it's really good. So the whole reason we're role playing is so that we can learn or look at that type of an experience, and how would we, rather than continuing the pattern of not being heard and not contributing to the conversation,
right?
We've been waiting for people to stop talking so we can say something, which is never going to happen,
right?
And it's to get buy-in. Or go ahead.
It's a way to be empowered to say, because it's going to be probably more successful if I have a one-on-one with you than to necessarily call it out in the meeting. Now some of the experts say women interrupt back. Be willing to interrupt back. Now there's a way to do it that's respectful. And that's what I try to teach women in particular, is to say, to say, excuse me, I'd like to finish my thought. Thank you. Now that's different than just interrupt. It's speaking for what you want. But the scenario I want to describe is really a little bit more interpersonal, one-on-one, that gives people an idea of the skill set and the thinking behind the skill set that they can apply to their situations.
Got it. Okay, I love it. Well, listen, maybe we do this great, maybe we totally bomb it. Either way, there's a teachable moment on the other side of it. So everybody listening, just stick with us, right? And see where we go with it. So the scenario is we had a meeting, I've interrupted you multiple times, and now you're having a conversation with me after.
Yes.
To correct or to be empowered about future.
And to connect. I mean, ultimately, because what's
happened, I like that. Yeah.
Well, what's happened is in the meeting, I have now withdrawn. So are you getting my best from me? No. Right? Do I feel angry and irritated with you? Yes. Am I going to be open to collaborating and being our best together? No. So the whole team is now missed out because I have a conflict that is now going on inside of me and I'm not addressing it. So it's saying I'm going to empower myself, but I'm also going to I'm going to have the courage and bring this forward so that I can resolve this with you so that we can continue to be our best. You don't even know necessarily what's going on, but I know that I am damaging by not speaking up. I'm damaging our best.
Got it. Love it. All right. Okay. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go. Time in. Here we go.
Okay. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, Chris.
Hey,
do you have a second? I just wanted to talk to you about something.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. You know how we were in the meeting earlier and we were in the heart of the conversation, right? And I know it's a really important topic for us to figure out. I noticed that when we were in that meeting, I was speaking and I noticed that you spoke a couple of times on top of when I was speaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I felt pretty irritated by that. I felt angry because I really have a value around letting people finish and being respectful in that way. And so I felt irritated because I thought, oh, this isn't very respectful. And I have something to say. And I believe that what I have to say is valuable to add to the conversation. So I'm wondering, would you be willing to try to pay attention to that in the future? And if you do notice that one of us, whether it's me or somebody else, is speaking and sharing their ideas, would you be willing to try to wait and let us finish, even though I know that you're very passionate verbal person, but I would appreciate it if you'd be willing to consider that.
Oh my gosh, Tara, I'm so sorry that happened. I got so excited about the idea. I didn't even realize that I was doing that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Please forgive me.
Oh, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And, I get it because I know I get passionate about a lot of topics too. And passion's exciting and fabulous. And I just know that for us to really be able to be our best, all the different perspectives are important to hear. And, I just think that might be helpful to just be aware of it.
I agree. And I just want you to know, I really want to hear what you have to say. Like I love the team that we have. I really feel like we have a lot of potential. Sometimes I'm frustrated that maybe there's potential left out of the conversation. Yeah. And I could see maybe even interrupting like that maybe makes you want to withdraw. So let me ask you this. When I have an idea and we're in a conversation, I find myself wanting to jump in, like what would work for you?
Yeah. I think some of it is, how the meeting is facilitated. So I think that the idea of when, physically giving that body language of like, I have something I want to share too, that helps cue me in to know, okay, so I'm going to wrap up and you have something to say. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's not other people that also have other things to say. And I know, especially Janice, who's really quiet, she tends to not really say a lot at the meetings. And I think it's because many of us are so verbal and passionate about it that there aren't often openings for these other people. So I think that that's really where would be helpful for us as a team, so that there is space, but that we're really being able to let each other know when we have things to say, but it's respectful in waiting to let each other finish.
Yeah, it's really good. I love that. Also, if it would help me if you see other places where I do that, if you point that out, like I just want to be a safe place where you could be like, hey, I noticed you did that thing again and Janice was trying to say something, and or if you see people that are really quiet like Janice and you're like, I think they have really good ideas, like let me know.
Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate your openness. I've not always had a great response if I've brought these challenges to people, and for me, I think we all have a responsibility to be our best. And so I will continue to bring my ideas and also continue to be aware of how am I helping us be all of our best. So.
I love that. What you can count on from me, I can't promise that I won't interrupt again. And if I do interrupt, I'm not trying to, now I'm telling you, I'm not trying to belittle you. I might get excited, but you can always count on me to have an open conversation or be a safe place if you ever want to air out how that was. I'm learning as I go as well. You know, we're all humans trying to play a team sport here. So always just feel comfortable or safe to come just have that conversation.
Yeah. Well, I consider you, especially the way you've responded today, somebody that I can trust and that I can talk to about these things, and that we can find a solution so that we can be a stronger team. So I appreciate that.
That's what I want. Perfect. Thanks, Tara.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Okay. Wow. That was fun. I didn't know where it was going to go, but that's where it went.
Yeah.
It's like, I could be the really jerky person, or I could be like the safe place person.
Yeah.
My default is a safe place person. So I chose to go there, but we could role play it again where I'm the jerky person, but let's debrief at least that, because I think that was a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I think either way, even if you were like resistant or you felt threatened by what I said, or that you were irritated that I was asking you to be something different, you know, regardless of how you respond, I still would want to keep generally the formula that I used. And the first step is acknowledging the situation in a non-judgmental way, in a neutral way. Yeah. So I said, remember when we were back at the meeting and we were talking about that topic? Mm-hmm. I didn't say, remember when we were talking about that topic and you were kind of an ass and you kept interrupting me? Right? So like immediately you'd be like, what? You know, defensive. Right. So it's keeping that part neutral. It's saying, here's the observation I made, and it was a neutral observation. So that keeps you open. The second step is, you know, when I felt this. Now, I didn't say, when you interrupted me, I got pissed off. You pissed me off. I could say, I felt angry. I could say, you know, I got a little pissed. That's owning it. But if I said, you pissed me off, that's not owning it. That will cause defensiveness. Right. Your initial response from that will most likely be defensive. Right. So the neutral situation, the neutral observation I'm sharing with you. Then I'm sharing the I felt this. And again, it's not when you were a jerk. It's when you spoke while I was still finishing my idea, neutral, non-judgmental. I shared, this is how I felt. And it's in I language. That then I said, and I felt that because I have a need for respect. And I explained to you a little bit about why my thought was, this is disrespectful, you know, that I have a value that we let each other finish. And so that gives you understanding and explanation to the thought behind the feeling that I had. Right. And it includes a need, because we always have a need. Our needs are unconsciously driving our behavior, and it's driving the reaction to things. So if somebody is acting in a certain way that I'm having a need in that moment, I'm going to be reactive, most likely because I have a need that I'm trying to meet. So my need is for respect, or maybe my need is, in a situation, it might be, you know, I would really like some space. You know, maybe you come and talk to me about a conflict, and I might say, I would love to talk with you about that. What I need right now is to focus on this project, but are you available at 3 today? Because I would like to talk with you. So it's being open and honest about our needs, not needy, but being real about the human needs we have, right? Yeah. So I need, because I need respect. And for me, respect means letting a person finish their thought, right? Yeah. So then I say, would you be willing? And that's the truth. It is a request. And I truly can only make a request. If I try to make a command or a demand, you will resist it. And it's your choice, no matter what I say, it's your choice, whether or not you decide to agree with what I'm requesting. So I make a request. Yeah. Would you be willing to X, Y, and Z? And then you get to make a choice. Now, if you were like, well, no, I'm just a passionate person and deal with it. I will get, I will do what I do. That's what I do. It's how I roll, deal with it. Right. Then I get to say, okay, all right. So I see that this isn't something that you can help me meet, but I still have that need. So then I get to figure out as a professional, how can I get respect in our team, that need for respect in our team met? And that's when I get to decide from there where to go.
Right.
But by interpersonally making it clear that it's about a neutral situation, I'm not blaming you. I'm owning what I need. I'm owning what I feel. I'm owning my thoughts that have created this feeling. I'm, and maybe even like I'd say, I don't know if you noticed, but I shut down. I kind of withdrew. That's owning my behavior. Then I make a request. You get to make a decision about that. And then based on your decision, then I get to make choices. So it's very empowered. It's very clear. And can you feel the tone? Can you feel that there's this openness around it?
Yeah. I was going to say, like, on the receiving end of your feedback, I was of the role play, right? I was appreciative that you were bringing it up. And I think a lot of times to your point, like, people won't say something because they're afraid of backlash. They're afraid of conflict or fighting. It can be a scary situation. I'm just telling you, on the receiving end of you saying what you needed, I was appreciative of you telling me, because I value my team. And I was appreciative because actually there was respect that transferred, because you were saying something like, oh, that's cool. Good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Let's do more of that. I like that.
Yeah.
For people listening, I'm telling you on the receiving end of that, it feels good when your team pushes back pushes. I don't know if that's the right word, but like ask for what they need. Cause you're like, oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Right. And in our scenario, we're coworkers, right? I mean, you're not my leader. We're coworkers. So regardless of our roles, it's not only talking about respect, but it's demonstrating respect by talking in this way, by being self-aware enough to and calming. I mean, there's the step that before that we haven't talked about that we'll definitely address it on another show, is about when I'm triggered, how do I get to a place where I can be rational enough to even think through what we just did and then be able to speak it? There's all those steps, but but this is like okay, I'm in that place. I've got clarity now. I've got my words and I know what I want to express, and I can approach you in that way. In my professional best, I can approach you.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. I thought it went great. Good job. High five. We did it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it went well. Yeah, it wasn't even it was like,
It's, whenever, like, before we hit record, it was like, well, let's do a role play. We're like, I don't know, like, how's it going to go? What's the scenario? But I think, we're just being real here. We're being real. If you go back to our last episode, we're being real.
We're being real. And all of this, and I think this is a great way to wrap this, is to say that all of this takes courage to approach a conflict, to speak it, to step up to the person that you're feeling resistance to, or nervous about bringing it up, or whatever it is that's going on. The truth is, it takes courage to be willing to face that. But through that courage and through the skills and having the tools to be able to make that approach and conversation happen, the results and the payoff is enormous. So I know it takes courage, and it's worth it.
Totally. By the way, this is the kind of work that you'll do. You'll actually come in and work with teams. Do you role play in some of your workshops?
Yeah, not as much in the workshops. Often I'll do a lot of role play one-on-one. It depends on the level of comfort and trust in that group already. Because role play, as we know, it's uncertain and it's unexpected, and beautiful things come from it. It just depends on what developmental level, what phase is the group in or the team in.
Yeah. I definitely love
adjust that. Yeah.
I love that you have a process that outside of role play that you can still walk people through. So whether you're doing stuff or one-on-one stuff, you can still walk people through a way. I think without a way without a process or a plan, it's kind of like, God, I hope this conversation goes well. I'll open my mouth and see what happens. And then if you don't, like, emotions can kind of take you crazy places if you don't have a plan to kind of come back to. So I think it's really good that you have these kinds of processes to walk people through in your training.
Yeah, and we practice them, and we talk about them, and then we'll come back after some time and talk about ways they've applied it and practiced it, and how did it go? What would you have done differently? So it's a working, chewing on, applying, reflection kind of process.
I love it. And these are the skills that you talk about often, from where we are to where we want to be, and the gap in between, like the skills kind of like bridge that gap,
Exactly.
Love it. Well, if people want to hone their skills, they want to bring you in and have you work with them, where do people go to connect with you?
They can go to my website, powerfulconnectionsnow.com. There they have the option of emailing. At the bottom, they can email me, or any of the buttons. There's a button that says schedule, and we can schedule a free consultation. And that gives us an opportunity to talk about your situation and get a feel for what would make sense. And then we see if it's a fit, if they fit with me and I fit with them. So
perfect. Love it. Tara, thank you so much for braving the role play. I can't wait to see what we do next time.
Yeah, me too.
Until then, take care.
Thanks, Chris.